Maybe dancers didn't know that it came from the rave scene. Who cares? Whatever. You know, it's fashion. Fashion over function.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue.
Okay. Okay, so back to the story.
Go ahead.
So yes, I went and auditioned at my first club. Should I say where it was?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Was it here in Milwaukee?
It was Airport Lounge.
Okay.
And it was close to my house at the time, and I knew I seen it. And I don't even know like how I decided which place to go to. I think I maybe talked to a few people. I didn't know how to go about this, right? I had no experience what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
So I asked one of my friends, hey, will you go with me to do this audition? Well, it turns out they couldn't go. So I'm like, I have no idea what do I wear, all right? How do they hire me? Do they hire me based on what I'm wearing? Do they look at my body? I don't know. So I brought like this little bikini thing to dance in. And then I changed in my car in the parking lot into this sexy looking, it was a raver dress I had made. I made a lot of clothes back in the day. So it was one of those dresses I made, and I just changed in my back seat. And I was like, all right, I'm ready to do this. So I walk up the ramp, go in the door, and they're looking at me. And I'm like, I'm here to fill out an application and all that stuff. And they end up saying, you know, you can do an audition in that outfit. I was like, oh, no, I brought something to change into.
So and this is where my struggle is going to be, is because obviously I know how the industry works, so on and so forth. Walk me through what they ask for. ID, like address, so on and so forth. What were they all looking for?
Oh, so it's a regular application for any job. You know, I mean, they ask you what position you're applying for.
Okay.
Dancer. But, you know, ask you for your ID. It's just like any other job you're applying for. You still have to fill out an application.
Okay.
And then depending on that club, they will tell you when they're doing auditions. No, the manager wasn't there at the time, but they said he'll be in, I don't know, maybe like an hour. So you can just hang out and wait if you want. So in that time frame, I got acquainted with some of the girls. They were actually very welcoming to me. Very nice. This was back in the day. Mm-hmm. The club scene was very different. And I think that club was just a little bit more tight-knit, and they were just very helpful. So they're just like, yeah, watch us dance, you know? So I sat back. I was super nervous. I couldn't drink, obviously, and I smoked at the time cigarettes, so I just chain smoked my nerves away. Mm-hmm. And then I watched them dance, and the manager came, and I did what I naturally flowed with, and I made a whole $22 in like 3 minutes, and I got off stage and I was like, wow, I just made $22 in 2 songs. You know what I mean? Like when you're 18, you put it in perspective. You're just like, damn, like the possibilities are endless here, right? So I got excited about that, and they hired me, and then that started that. Oh, side note, my car died my first night.
So after the audition or after your first night of working?
After my first night of working, I came back.
Did you start right away that night, or did you start like you came in and auditioned on a Monday and then like started on a Friday or something?
Yeah,
like
I don't even remember what day it was, but I worked the day shift. They had a day shift, so it was like 12 to 4 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember what time it was, but I lived with my parents. My car was stuck.
Oh.
So now I have to go home, and my mom asks, where's your car? Leading into that, I was like, Mom, I need you to give me a ride to pick up my car. And she's like, okay, where is it? I was like, well, I got to tell you something. This is exactly what I said. I said, so my car is parked at a hoochie bar. A hoochie bar. I don't know. That's the term I came up with at the time. I think my mom said the word hoochie a lot when I was younger, so I probably came up with that. So she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got a cocktail waitress job at a strip club." And so I don't know, it was pretty chill. We just got in my car and didn't say much about it. And then I think later that day, I ended up saying, "I got to come clean. I got a job as a dancer."
Mm-hmm. So with telling her that you were a waitress before you were a dancer, was there any guilt with being a dancer, or was it just one of those things that was just a hard conversation to have with your parents?
I was nervous. I didn't want my mom to look at me a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want my dad to know. As funny as it is, he still does not know today.
Do you want me to remove this link from Facebook?
My dad's not on Facebook.
Okay.
So. And anybody who would go to my dad, they got more issues than me do. So I'm not worried about it.
We talked a little bit about this off air about what was I guess your personal perspective on your body image and your comfortableness with yourself. Did you want to dive into that a little bit?
Sure. So when I was young and 18, I had a really high metabolism. I was really skinny. I was really insecure about it. I got teased all the time in school. I got teased like, kids are really fucking mean. We all know that. So are adults. People would be like, "Are you anorexic? You should eat, blah, blah, blah." You know, it's the same as shaming somebody who's overweight that's underweight. So yeah, I had a huge insecurity with that. But as I started to develop into my womanhood, you know, I grew tits and, that was great because I prayed for them on a bicycle when I was 12 years old and I got my praise for answer. Legit. So, so yeah, I was insecure, but I was, I guess, confident enough and secure enough to go do this, you know, but I was also very fair-skinned. So within the beginning of the dancing phase, there was a couple key things that I remember customers saying to me. You know, guys are fucking mean at the strip club. They think they're entitled to talk about your body, tell you what's wrong with your body, how you look, how you should look. But I guess to be expected. So this guy said, "Here's $2 to go get yourself a cheeseburger." And another guy gave me $1 to go get a tan. So I was like, "Fuck you. I will go get a fucking cheeseburger." Actually, it's going to be hamburger because I don't like cheese on it. But, you know.
I've been like, "You cheap motherfuckers. Like, tanning is like $15 for like the high end, and a good burger's $20."
For real. Happy Meal. So I ended up tanning, and, you know, that made me self-conscious. But through time, I don't know. I've always been, like I said, open with my body, as I guess you could say, as an exhibitionist. I liked to explore my sexuality.
Okay.
And I think that's something that is so taboo and people never want to talk about sex. Even now. It's so like, hush, you know, don't talk about sex. Like, people have sex, but they're so unwilling to be open about it. And I'm open. And I think some people just don't know how to take that sometimes.
It's weird. You know, it's, for whatever reason, it's easier for people to talk about politics than it is to talk about sex. I don't think anyone really knows what they're talking about when it comes to politics, but everyone kind of has an idea of like what they're like. They're on top of each other like this, right? And then you do, and we've all been there, and so on and so forth. Except for my brother, who is remaining a virgin until he gets married. I
mean, do you want to break that today? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking around. Sorry, awkward.
No, but it's tough for people to have that conversation. It's weird that nobody's, how do I say this, easygoing about it. For whatever reason, there's a level of uptightness. You think maybe that comes from like the rural areas of the world where it's like everyone's just kind of uptight about everything, if you really think about it?
Possibly. Also a reason why I'm kind of opening up about this, because I want to be positive about sex and acceptance of your body. And we are all born into this world naked. And people are so ashamed of nakedness, or that this girl's wearing that clothes. Everyone's so concerned about somebody else, what they're doing with their body, but yet on the inside, they're feeling ashamed or like self-critical about their own body.
I can see that.
And I kind of lost my train of thought there. What was the question?
I don't think there was a question. I think we were just more of having a discussion. I think it's easy for people to take a look at someone and make a judgment because it's the easiest thing to see. You don't see what's inside of a person. You don't see their personality from the outside looking in. To actually be able to really understand someone, you have to have a conversation with someone. And I think a lot of times that's hard for people. Not everyone can do something like this. Talk to someone about any topic, whether it's politics, whether it's sex, whether it's being a stripper, being a DJ, being a producer of an award-winning podcast. Shout out to my brother who's been producing this for the last couple of weeks and stuff like that.
Nice.
Like I said, it's easier for people to judge from the outside looking in as opposed from the inside looking out. People don't get everyone's personal perspective. So that's where the judgments come from. People that make comments about eat a cheeseburger, get a tan, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, you just got to remember, like, a lot of those dudes paid to be there.
Right.
And they're paying you to hang out with them. And as hard as that is to say to someone, you still have to, I mean, it sucks that you have to fucking kind of take it like that. I
do want to go back and finish a thought on that.
Go ahead.
That's okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like through the years, from then until now.
I was going to lead into this eventually.
Like my body acceptance now, I mean, I know we're flopping subjects in between here, but I got into working out, and now I love my body. I love who I am. I embrace it. Like this is my human vessel that my soul resides in. Like I have to love it and take care of it. But and also with saying that people don't know how to talk about certain things, also dancing has gotten me into that frame of mind to be able to have a conversation with anybody about anything, mostly anywhere, because of being in that industry.
So taking a step back, you were talking about being an exhibitionist. So I know the term, but I'm not exactly sure what the meaning is. So do you want to kind of elaborate on that for a little bit?
Sure. I mean, I am not going to be the Urban Dictionary here.
No,
but
not what I was expecting.
No, I think my thoughts on it, so anybody could perceive this however they want to take it. When I started to develop and my body grew into its form, I was intrigued by it. Like, I guess maybe as a younger girl, I had this obsession with like how my body would look as I was growing up into womanhood. Like, this is so odd, but it just made me think of this book that I had when I was probably hitting puberty. It was like it showed you the growth phases of like a girl going into puberty. And it showed you like I don't know if there was a specific age, but just like how a girl develops. And I have that image in my head, and like I guess I was so anxious and like wanted it. Do you know what I mean? So that when I finally got it, I was like excited about it. And so I don't know. Along with that, I think I was introduced to some like fetish type things in my first relationship with my boyfriend. So that kind of opened up my sexuality too a little bit more, and like just I guess the thought of someone being a voyeur and voyeurism being watched was something that intrigued me and kind of was a turn on. So I
Okay.
think being a dancer, it is definitely, I guess you could say it's a turn on or it's empowering or however you want to say it, to have a show and everyone is there to watch your show when you go up.
Do you put a lot of thought into what you do ahead of time? Like for this, we were talking about my notes. We were talking about kind of where we're going to go with this. Do you kind of have an idea of during your music, you want to do this? At some point, you want to get to this point. Like, do you plan that out in your head, or is it just hit the ground running?
I just kind of go with the flow. I try not to look like I'm on autopilot or a robot when I'm up there. You know, a lot of people are like, what are you guys thinking about? I've seen some girl, this one girl, I adored her for a while. She was a part of my life and then she was gone. But before I had known her personally, I always looked at her on stage and I seen her face and she had such a stale expression, and I said, it looks like she smelled bad cheese. And I just thought to myself, like, can you just do something else with your face? I don't know. It was something stupid, but I always thought about that. Like, what do I look like? Do I look like I'm into this? I don't want to look like I'm that. Look, there's girls that go up there and there's no one there. I don't give a shit if no one's there. Just do your fucking job. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, just, I get it. There's a time and a place where you're just like, all right, no one's there. I'm going to come off the stage. But I guess there was times when there was one person there and I would still dance like I was into it because I felt like I was doing it for myself too. It felt good to just dance. Like, I love music and I dance at the gym. I dance in my fucking car. Like, I just go with it. So I don't.
Is there a difference for you when it's one person? Does it feel more personal, or is it kind of more empowering when there's a large number of people around you or at the stage when you're there?
Definitely when there's a bigger group.
Okay.
It can be a little nerve-wracking sometimes. I mean, I still do get nervous.
Really? After all this time?
After all this time, yes. Like, if somebody comes in that I personally know and I'm like, oh, shit.
Really?
I will
Okay.
actually go up to that person and say hi and acknowledge them because I'm not going to act like it's the elephant in the room. Like, yo, you're here. You're in my space. So, hey, what's up? How's it going? Here's my dirty little secret. You know, like, cats out big. But I think it's a little bit of both. It's empowering. You know, you want to catch people's attention, but everyone is not always into you. You're not always everyone's cup of tea. So
Yeah, I've used this analogy before. A strip club, whatever you want to call it. What'd you say? Hoochie
Hoochie.
bar? Hoochie bar.
not coochie,
Hoochie bar.
but coochie could be.
It's almost like a Baskin Robbins in the sense that there's a little bit of everything. There's blondes, brunettes, redheads, black, white, yellow, wherever the color of the rainbow is, and stuff like that, and everything in between. It's crazy. There's a point I was going to get to with this. No, I think I was just agreeing with you.
Okay.
So let me ask this. So was the voyeurism like something that started in the relationship, your first relationship, or if that's too personal?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. I think it kind of started in the rave scene because I don't know. I think it was like the excitement of just going to this big club and dressing however I wanted to, you know, like I said, I made a lot of my outfits back then. I loved being different.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might say you do it for attention. I don't know if it was about the attention, because sometimes I got a lot of attention and I felt awkward because of that. It made me more anxious, but it was just like, personally, even when I was younger in middle school, I always was unique. Didn't fit in with anyone, really. Like my look, I don't know, whatever you want to say.
You know, it's interesting though. I look back personally, and I look at the people that kind of had that mindset of being different and being outgoing at the same time. We're some of the most friendly people. It was one of those that they could get along with the metalheads, they could get along with the jocks, they could get along with the teachers, they got along with everyone just because they kind of understood, like, everyone's different, and they just understood, and they took everyone at that value. I remember what I was going to lead into. So we were talking about like different types, so on and so forth, with, how do I put this? With how long you've been in the industry, is there a personal fitness routine that you go through for yourself to keep yourself? Because obviously, I mean, climbing a pole, doing everything, like I've seen what you do, and what you do is like acrobatic, kind of like on a pole. It's very smooth. Is there something that you do for yourself to keep yourself that limber to be able to do all of that?
So I started working out after I had my son. I had never worked out in my life, even when I was a younger dancer. I thought about it at one point, but I just wasn't there mentally, physically. I was very young. I like to drink. That was what I did when I was younger. You know, I thought, I'm skinny. I got big boobs. Like, I don't have to do shit, right? I'm in shape. But after I had my child, things changed. You know, I gained weight, and I didn't know that as my body. Like, this was a whole new body I was in. This was very awkward for me. I wore a lot of Spanx, if you know what those are. Do you? It's not butt Spanx.
Oh, I was like,
I do like spankings, but that's not it. It's
bless your heart.
Basically, it's like an under piece of clothing to suck all your fat in and make you look smoother and shapelier. So,
I constantly see those ads on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're being suggested to me for some reason.
Oh my God. Well, anyone can wear them. So yeah, I wore a lot of those after I had my kid. And then I was, again, given a shitty comment by some guy when I went out for New Year's once, after I endlessly looked for a nice, flattering outfit. And I was like, fuck this. I'm going to start working out. So it had nothing to do with dancing at that point, because I wasn't even dancing. That was a 6-year gap that I got out of the business. But when I got into the fitness industry, I just went hard. I just said, you know what? I don't know what my end goal is. I just want to be in shape, and I'm not stopping till I get it. And I literally, it was a New Year's resolution, went with it every day. I went to the gym 7 days a week. I was insecure, self-conscious. I wore hoodies. I wore sweats. I covered up. And as I started to lose the weight, my clothes came off slowly but surely, you know, but I became more confident, and I did it for myself. It was for my mental strength, you know, to set a goal and commit to it. And I didn't know where I was going to take that. So 9.5 years later now, I've been lifting for, like 8.5 years, 9, something like that. It's all for me. I mean, do I think you should try to stay in shape as a dancer when you're taking your clothes off? Yeah, I mean, be active. I mean, you're putting on a show. This is a fantasy world, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But guys like all different varieties of women. So Honestly, I think people should just work out just because it's going to help with depression and anxiety and like feeling good and well-being and all that. So
No, I hear that. I've always been, for myself, I've been anxious when people come up and talk to me, and I'm unprepared to talk to them. Where it's like one of those where it's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And you just want to be like, "Oh, I'm doing well," or do I give this person like the long-ended answer where it's like, "Oh, I got this going on. I recently found out I only sleep like 2 to 3 hours a day, so on and so forth." Like, where's the right way to answer any of that? And I'm just like, I don't know where the balance is to talk to people about any of this stuff, because it's like when you're talking to your friends and stuff like that, it's easy to open up about all this stuff, whether it be someone making a comment to you on New Year's and getting you to make a commitment to yourself to train on a regular basis, or if you're just like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? I'm well," and just keeping it short, so on and so forth. I remember what else I was going to ask you too. What are some of the best experiences that you've had from dancing? Like best and worst.
So, best overall, I think dancing has evolved me as a woman. It has helped me become more confident in talking to strangers, talking in an interview, talking wherever. I think just being exposed in situations that you might be uncomfortable in, it challenges you.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you see things in a different perspective. I feel like the industry is we're in it, so
Yeah.
we know what it's like, and people that aren't, it's almost like a whole nother civilization. You know what I mean? Like, I've thought about this. Sometimes I would just be chilling at work. It would be kind of low, dead time, and I would just look around and be like, God, this is like so crazy that this is part of my life. You know what I mean? Like, just looking around and watching, like, when you would go pick up your kid from school or something, like, nobody knows this about me. Like, I don't work in a fucking cubicle. Like, I have an exciting job that's fun. No, don't get me wrong. There's pros and cons. But I appreciate the industry. I think it's cool. It's a cool experience to go through, and it's something not a lot of people get to experience.
Yeah.
Like, nobody. I don't know.
I'm going to jump in for a second. I think one of the craziest things is that no one has really captured what it's really like. You think about TV, you think about movies. Like, there was the one with Jennifer Lopez and Cardi.
Hustlers.
Yeah. That was based on a real story. I think that was out of Scores, New York,
Okay.
where girls were like bringing guys in, and I think that was right after the 2008 market crash. That's when that happened. What else was there? I'm trying to think about the one with Demi Moore.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really capture it, because I mean, it's because they take the one angle. They usually do, where it's single mom, the father of the child's a deadbeat or whatever, and it's always like a threatening of taking the kids, so on and so forth. Where there's people that have perfect relationships, so on. Well, I shouldn't say perfect. No relationship's really perfect, but they have strong relationships. They have great parenting, so on and so forth. The mother could be working towards something. Like, there's a couple of girls that I know that put themselves through nursing school.
Absolutely.
People that have gone on, like yourself, that become an esthetician outside of being an entertainer, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to look at it sometimes and just being like, it's normal. But at the same time, it's crazy because of the fact that it's, to a point, groups of people in the industry are pretty well tied together. Like, they're almost like family. Like,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
look at some of the guys that I've worked with. For example, Lee and Cassie, who've done this podcast a number of times. Two of my best friends. Lee was a bartender and a manager, and Cassie was a bouncer and a bartender. Cassie and I moved across the country to Vegas to open up one of the clubs for the guys for Silk. And the dude to this day is still one of my best friends. There are people in the industry that I talk to still that are out of the industry that I still talk to on a regular basis. My friend Melissa, she pivoted into another career. She has a kid. I think she's married now too. Don't quote me on that. But there's this tight community between all of us to a point. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all irritate each other like family does at times, but at the same time, like, it is one of those where it's a pretty tight knit family between all of us. We all know that the end goal is to get to this point and get to wherever we want to do. Was it kind of the same for you, where did you have like an end goal as far as like becoming an esthetician outside of the industry? Or
I'll be honest. When I was young, dancing, I didn't know my goals.
mm-hmm.
I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I just went with the flow. I was so carefree. I think I'm still carefree, just in a different way. I'm more structured and
That makes sense.
disciplined.
Yeah.
I'm always a free spirit, but I guess you could say I didn't give a fuck back then. I didn't have any life responsibilities. I didn't have any, what do you have to do when you're 19, 20? Like, party it up.
Yeah.
Live your life. And I did, and it was fun, and I don't regret any of it because it helped me mold myself into who I am today. I'll take all that shit I went through and appreciate it because I am stronger, wiser, and know more because of going through that.
Any regrets at all?
No, because everything's a learning lesson. People come into your life to teach you, or you learn, you teach them, they teach you, whatever it is. So I think any shitty circumstances we go through, or whatever we could call the worst, is there for our best.
No, I like that. I say that a lot too, where it's like any bad experiences, there's usually a lesson to be learned. I don't think a lot of people, I say that to my girlfriend a lot. There's stuff that happens where she's like, I don't get why this is. I'm like, bad shit happens, so you can learn from it.
I do have something that has come of the industry, though.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes. If I was to say the worst, when I was young, I went into a downward spiral. I was introduced more to drinking and being in a bar. It's accessible all the time. It's a party. It can be a party lifestyle if you want to make it that. If you're there to reach your goals, whatever, then you use it as a stepping stone or a tool. But it's very easy to fall into that party lifestyle, and I fell into that. And I got DUIs,
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. All of them surrounding the industry, actually. The first one I got when I think I had my boyfriend come and pick me up from work. He failed to show up one night because he would pick me up, drive me home, so I didn't have to drive home drunk. He didn't show up, and I made that choice to drive. Another time, a girl actually called me in. They saw me leave, shit-faced. I mean, I was blowing a .22. I was up there. So, I definitely had to deal with the consequences of that. Money spent, jail time. And then I got another one through dating a bartender in the industry. Really toxic person. Wasn't the happiest moments in my life, and it really took my life and turned shit around.
It is crazy being in the industry that, my personal perspective, I drank a lot myself, and it wasn't until I was in my early to mid 30s that I kind of I took a deep breath and went, time to reassess. There wasn't anything traumatic that I never got a DUI or a DWI or anything like that. I honestly, like, it was one of those that I started challenging myself to see if I could do it. Like, I would go, can I go a week without drinking? Because it was one of those things that was like every weekend or every night that I had off, it was go out with friends and drink. And it got to the point where I would go, okay, let's see if I can go a week. Got to a week. And I'd be like, okay, let's see if I can go longer than that. Like, I would do New Year's Day to St. Patty's Day. I'd be like, well, obviously everyone drinks on St. Patty's Day, so
I gotta end it there.
and there's nothing really to do in between New Year's Day and like March, whatever it is, 17th or whatever. So I was like, okay, I can go through January and February and, you know, part of March without drinking, and I would do that pretty consistently. And then it got to the point where I was in a relationship, and I was like, I'm gonna see if I can just take a year. And I took a year. And I went without drinking. And the first time I drank again, I was in Denver. Actually, I'll show you the posters. They're out in the living room. I went to go see Social Distortion for like 3 days out in Denver. 1 night in Boulder, 2 nights in Denver. And the first night I was in Denver, it wasn't officially my birthday. It was like March 28th or something like that. So I was a couple of days early. And I had my first drink, and I had a scotch, which was like my first drink back. And it was the first time I had ever started drinking scotch. The girl I was seeing at the time was a big scotch drinker, and I would just keep it in my house for her. So I was like, oh, this one right here. I'm like, I keep this one in my house for my girlfriend. And the bar manager looked at me. He's like, that's a really good scotch. He's like, did you pick that? I was like, I just saw the container and I picked it out randomly, and I thought it was kind of cool. And I started drinking that, and I was eating like weed cookies and whatnot. And it was crazy because after this year of being off from drinking, there was a number of things that didn't happen. I wasn't getting agitated, and I wasn't getting frustrated about like previous BS I'd been in with either ex-girlfriends or an argument I had with the girl I was seeing at the time. It was just one of those where I was texting her and I was like taking selfies. I was like drinking scotch and eating weed cookies, so on and so forth. And everything was really happy. And the next day I woke up and I was like, wow, I was like, I think that might be the missing key. Because for a while there was just toxic behavior that I did for myself. And then all of a sudden it was, oh, this is different. This is actually enjoyable as opposed to where I was in the past. And the one big thing that I figured out for myself was I was like, I can't drink like vodka, gin, so on and so forth. Something about that just pushes me in the wrong direction, where now it's like I'll have like there's a couple of cases of Boddingtons out in my kitchen, and there's a couple of bottles of scotch. I might have a beer here and there, but like it's nothing like I used to. Like my girlfriend makes fun of me now. Like I have like a drink or two. Like I had a drink the other night, and we came back here, and I was like, I need to make some food. She's like, are you drunk? And I was like, maybe. I'm like, bacon just sounds like a really good idea right now. But I am. I'm essentially a huge lightweight now. Where
That's okay.
I was having Mother's Day with my mom and my brother back there. We were doing a Mother's Day brunch. And I was bragging about the fact that I was like, I had 4 Guinnesses the other night. And everyone's like, 4? I was like, yeah, I was hammered. I was like, hell, you had to drive.
Jesus. Well, it is a thick beer, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just one of those. I can't drink at all like I used to. Has it changed for you at all? Like you still drink occasionally, or?
It has definitely changed.
What was the change for you? Was it the DUIs, or was it an age thing?
A lot of things. I went from being young and not having shit to do to getting out of the industry, having a child. And like I said, I didn't work in the industry for 6 years at that point. That's when go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to ask, but I was going to wait till you finished. I was going to I'm gonna let you finish what you were saying, but I wanted to circle back to that eventually. What made you? Was it your son that made you leave the industry, or was it? What was it?
Sure.
Just taking a break?
Yeah. Well, I was with my ex-fiance at the time, my son's dad. And we both came to the agreement together that I would be a stay-at-home mom and I would get out of the industry and stop dancing. So I saved up. I danced till I was 6 months pregnant. I wasn't showing very much until the 6th month. And then this guy said, here is a tip for you, and here's one for your baby. And I was like, okay, it's time to go today. So then I got out, and like I said, I saved as much money as I could just because I know I was done. I saved all my money. I worked my ass off, and that was it. I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. So I went from that social life to mom life, which is a whole nother topic. But I obviously I started getting into working out when I had my son, and that really helped me steer away from drinking because, we weren't going out, we weren't partying, we would go out once in a while. And I would drink, but I just found that I loved working out and it made me feel good. And the less I had alcohol in me, the more I had, man, I feel like I regenerated my whole mind.
Yeah.
And my whole brain. It was like I was learning things you know what I mean? I felt like I had come back to life. Like I had life in me. And it felt good, and it felt good to have goals and, not be falling around drunk like an idiot. And as I got back into dancing,
What made you go back into dancing though?
So, long story short, my ex and I had broke up at 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
That was my decision to leave. And at that point, it was a very difficult decision for me. But he was the financial support of our family. So I had nothing. I had no money. So I really didn't want to go back to dancing, but I figured, okay, well, I need money quick. I need to come up with money for an apartment, blah, blah, blah. Went back as a shot girl. And through that, I was a shot girl for a while. You can definitely make great money doing that. But I had come so far away from dancing that in my mind, I put myself on this fucking pedestal. Like, you got away from it. I guilted myself for it. And I shouldn't have, it's fine. Like, we go through life. We do things. We learn from them. But at one point I just said, damn, you know what? I kind of miss it. Like, I wonder what it feels like to get back on that stage, right? So I got back into it. And at that point, I was working day shifts. I was not drinking. I would go to the gym and I would go to work. And it's kind of counterproductive to go to the gym and then go fucking drink, So I wanted to feel good. I wanted to get off work and get shit done when I could and not be drunk. I don't like being drunk in the middle of the day. I feel like it's odd and I don't have anything to do and I can't be productive. So the whole drinking kind of faded away. It kind of came back for a little bit, and I was still very cautious of it, but I started dating somebody and he drank a lot, and it basically got me into some toxic behaviors again. And with that came the third DUI. It was an unfortunate situation. Shouldn't happen, but it did. And so now I do have an interlock device in my car.
Mm-hmm.
I can't drink and drive, obviously, because if I do and I blow and there's alcohol, my car ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not a person that likes to leave my car anywhere. We'll just take an Uber. No, you deal with the bullshit of going to get your fucking car in the morning. Like, I like to get up and start my day. Go to the gym, do what I want to do. I don't want to chase around to go pick up a car.
I hear you on that.
So, yeah, I mean, I definitely will have some drinks here and there, but I moderate. If I drink, I do shots. That's it. Water, I can control that.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
My perspective, I've kind of a different opinion as far as like leaving my car. I had a friend of mine, we were in our early 20s, who got a DUI, and he told me how much it cost him for his lawyer.
It's a lot.
The shit that he had to pay for the stuff in his car, the embarrassment of explaining to the company that I worked for that he could only work, like he had an occupational, so he couldn't stay late. He had to be driving only at these times, so on and so forth. And he told me it cost him around $13,000, and I was like, I've always thought in my head, and it's part of the reason we were talking off air, the apartment that I live in, I've lived in forever because it's central for everything for downtown. It's a $5 cab ride or a $8 Uber to go pretty much anywhere in the downtown area. I've always just thought that if I've taken my car anywhere, that I'm like, I'll deal with the $100 it's going to cost me if my car gets towed because it was parked in the wrong spot, or I'll pay the $20 to have someone to take an Uber, whatever, to go get my car and whatever possible tickets, because the $50 to $100 is a lot less than the $10,000 to $15,000 I'm gonna have to shell out to get out of it.
I definitely understand that. I guess now if I know I'm drinking, I just do not drive.
Yeah,
I will take an Uber, get a ride. But if I'm saying, like, if somebody tries to get me to drink at work, I'm like, no, no. That's where I'm like.
Is it hard to turn down the alcohol? Because I'm kind of in the same boat. I've come up with excuses. I'm throwing myself under the bus on this one, but I've come up with excuses and tall tales on how to get out of drinking, where people kind of know that I train mixed martial arts. So it's one of those where I'm like, oh, I'm not drinking. And they're like, well, why aren't you drinking? And it's always like, what's wrong with you? Like, people look at you like you have cancer when you say it, you're not drinking, especially in Wisconsin. And I've always just said, oh, I'm cutting weight. I have a kickboxing tournament coming up, or I have a jiu-jitsu tournament coming up. And they're like, oh, okay, well, when's the tournament? In like 2 months. And hopefully like people don't pick up on the fact that I'm fibbing at all, but it's the easiest way for me to get out of drinking, because it was one of those things that when I first started doing tournaments, I didn't drink because I was concerned about the empty calories. So I was like, okay, I'm avoiding this because I don't want to have to work like an extra hour to work off the 2 beers I just had. So I would just tell people, I watch soccer a ton. So I was always watching it in like a pub because it's such a great atmosphere to watch it in. But everyone was always like, Parker, do you want a shot? Do you want a beer? Do you want this? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And again, it's that look of what's wrong with you. And I'd be like, I have a jiu-jitsu tournament coming up, so I'm cutting weight. And people left me the fuck alone. And I was like, this is how you get out of it. Okay, I got it. So that's how I skated around it. And once I learned that, I just constantly used it as an excuse. Or the year that I took off, I told people, I was like, I'm taking a year off just to see what's happening. They're like, is everything all right with you? I'm like, everything's fine. I'm taking a break. I mean, I was drunk for 50 weeks out of a 52-week calendar for a while there, where I was just like, I wasn't taking any time off. And I was like, let's just see if the liver can still function without alcohol in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's crazy to try, especially in Wisconsin, to try and get around not drinking.
It's definitely more of the state.
Yeah, or it's like a handshake too, where like, for example, me DJing, people will come up to the DJ booth, and it's already there's already a shot in their hand, and it's like, what are you doing with that? You doing 2 shots? And they're like, oh, are you not drinking? I'm like, not tonight. Yeah, I got my car with me, and they're like, oh man, clang. Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Yes. I mean, there's some pressure sometimes, but honestly, I find I do just fine with it.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
like, okay, so let's say it's 11:30 and someone's like, "Oh, you drinking?" and they want to offer me something. I just say, "Let me see what time it is. I have a drinking curfew." Nope, I can't go past this time. And then they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I have to blow job my car."
Do you
They're
really
like,
tell people that?
That's what I say. I gotta give my car a blowjob tonight. So if I don't suck it good enough, it's not going anywhere. And then they always say, "Well, I wish I could be your car." I'm like, "Oh, you don't even know what I'm talking about, do you?" And they're like, "No." And I was like, "I have a breathalyzer in my car, so if I have any booze right now, it's not gonna go anywhere." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then they just leave it alone and they laugh about my blowjob jokes. So they kind of get distracted. Just distract them with a blowjob. That's it. But no, sometimes there's definitely those customers that want you to drink and be the party girl. And, well, I know at some point in time when I was in the industry with somebody, took a shot and I threw it over my shoulder, acting like I drank it.
So back in the day, and I hope I'm not throwing any entertainers under the bus.
Don't
This is
names.
so
No names.
no names. So there were plants that were in some of the VIP rooms,
Yeah.
and those plants kept dying.
I wonder why.
And it was because there were certain girls that just didn't drink while they were working.
Yeah.
And so anytime a customer would like make them drink with them, they would literally just do one of these, yep, and then right into those plants probably had a higher blood alcohol level than most kids in Ireland.
Yeah. I also had my secret ways that I would. Well, now you're gonna hear my dirty little secret. But
No, go ahead. Well, here again, you don't have to say anything you don't want to. So if this is
no, it's not like a dirty secret.
Okay,
It's just,
okay.
It was a technique I used when I didn't want to drink. I would just order a drink that looked like alcohol, and people don't fucking question it. If they want to put their lips on my drink, I'd be like, "No, put your lips on your own glass, bro." That's it.
I did club soda a lot.
Yeah, seltzers.
I felt weird. Here's what I feel weird about is that I would go to a venue, and in the time I wasn't drinking, it'd be one of those where it's like, "What can I get you?" I'm like, "Let me get a Red Bull." My first one would usually be a Red Bull. And they're like, "What can I get you now?" And I'm like, "Can I get a bottled water?" And they're like, "We don't have bottled water." And I'm like, "Can I get like a club soda? Like, what do you have back there?" And they're like, "We have club soda from the gun." And I'm like,
Whatever.
"Okay, what do I owe you?" And they're like, "Nothing. It's soda water." And I'm like, "Here's $2. Thanks." Like, it's so awkward trying not like you want to go out and you want to socialize and you want to hang out with everyone, but at the same time, sometimes you just don't want to drink. And it's anywhere else in the world, it's fine.
Right.
Wisconsin,
I know,
is crazy about it.
It is.
Yeah, it's insane. There's a couple of other questions I want to get into. I felt like we talked about drinking for. Actually, I kind of want a beer now.
Well, Wisconsin, like.
I was going to ask, so there are entertainers in this business that not only work at a club, but they also work for themselves by doing private parties. Was that something that you ever did?
Back in the day, yeah, I actually worked with a girlfriend's company who did like bachelor parties. Mm-hmm. We had security that would go with us. Even at my old club, they would have some type of party lined up, and they would pick 2 girls, and I would usually be one of them. We would go. We'd have a bouncer come. Most of the time, it was pretty fun. Sometimes.
How did it work? So is it like one of those things where it's like, here's what I'm picturing in my head. It's at a hotel somewhere. There's a big hotel room. There's a bar, so on and so forth. Or is this like somebody's house? Is this like at a hall? Like what?
Right.
Walk me through what's most venues.
A lot of them were some people's houses. There were some at a bar that was like closed off to the public. God, this one place even had a fucking hot tub in their bar, which was weird.
You say weird, I say awesome.
Yeah. I mean, me and the girl got in it. And side note, my fucking weave came out in the hot tub, and there's some track of hair floating. And I'm like, I don't even give a shit right now. Give me all the money. Yeah, weird moments. But yeah, like hotels, halls. Yeah, all those things. We almost had a bouncer, though.
And then where's the bouncer hang out? Is he in there?
Kind of off to the side, making sure nobody acts stupid.
Mm-hmm.
People act stupid.
So does he go over like the rules with everyone? Like
no.
Or is it just like you said, you and your friend, right?
Yeah, it'd be like me and another dancer.
So do you explain all this stuff to them too, or?
Oh God, this was so long ago. But I think we would kind of like run through like, hey, who we are. This is how we're gonna do it. We have some guidelines. This is our guy. You can pay him, and like our whatever, how we were gonna dance and dance for the bachelor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
However that went. And it would be like an hour long, and then we would collect our money and go.
Yeah, that's
I did have to slap some guy's face once, and I was like, well, thanks for fucking it up for the rest of you guys. I'm out. We're done. And then we left.
So usually they just went really well, except for that one incident?
I think most of the time it went fine.
I mean, so comparison, club, private party, which one's better?
I don't care to do them now unless I knew the person. But I don't know. I like working in the club. I feel I'm in my safe zone. Especially being at Silk. Honestly, I love that club. I wish I could pick it up and take it with me to move with me. I love that, the staff, the bouncers, they watch out for us. They take care of us. They help us. I just think people get along there. There's far less drama there than other clubs. I've been in some Drama Central, and it's a good income flow. I think it's a good high energy on the weekends. I can deal with all that crowd energy. You're going to get your douchebags in there, and you're going to have fun guys. And I always appreciate when there's fun, like just cool dudes.
Well, that leads to a question I wanted to ask eventually was, let's say, for example, one of your friends comes up to you and goes, hey, Kim, I'm going to go to a strip club for the first time. What is some etiquette that I should have or things I should know before I go?
Yeah.
What would you say to him?
I have told this many times to people, actually. I always say, look, the girls are working, okay? At the end of the day, whether you fall in love with a stripper or not, they're there to work. Mm-hmm. Like, you go to your job and get paid, and we get paid based on tips. We don't have a paycheck. Some places do, but be respectful. Okay. So if you're not into a girl, you don't like her, she's, you're not attracted to her, whatever, just don't be an asshole about it. I think let's, for instance, in a scenario, a girl comes up, she sits down, hey, would you like some company? Or, hey, would you like a dance? And the guy's not interested. I think it's nice to just politely say, I'm just hanging out by myself right now, or you know what, I appreciate you, here's a tip, not a fucking $1, okay, give him like $10, here's $5, 10, 20 would be great. But just like be polite and say, I'm not interested in having a dance right now. I don't know. Or if you're just not interested, like, give him something. Give him a tip.
Yeah.
And, if you're gonna sit at the stage, you should tip. If you're going to the strip club, you should tip. Don't come in there with $20 and spend it on 2 beers, and then you say, well, I'm out of money. Well, guess what? You could have went to the corner bar, hang out with a bunch of dudes at a sausage fest where there's not women taking their clothes off, providing you with entertainment, which you walked into the place with said entertainment, knowing that, you know what I mean? Like, go to a place where you don't have to have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But, and let's see. Money showers are always nice. Okay, no, but if you're gonna be that guy that is walking around with a big fucking wad of money, right, and you're just flashing it, you're just showing it, don't be that guy. If you're gonna show your money off, you better be tipping people, right? Because now you're just walking off like showing like, I got all this money, but I'm not gonna spend it. Or if you're bragging, don't come in and brag about how much money you make. And, you know, don't ask girls on dates. We're not there to pick up dates. We are there to work. And don't try to make a girl feel guilty or something because she doesn't want to go on a date with you. Like, well, I just want to get to know you better. That's not what we're here for. I mean, everybody, you can build relationships in that atmosphere. You know, there's a regular comes in to see you, you know, but at the end of the day, just because you're walking into that environment, it doesn't like make you entitled to just put people down and criticize them and don't be shitty, you know? Like, everyone's working, even if you think that there's girls that are unattractive, like, so what? Don't be an asshole to them. Like, they had the courage to get up on that stage and take their fucking clothes off in front of a room full of strangers.
Yeah.
It takes some balls. And I've seen some chicks talk shit about dancers too. And I'm like, honey, take your clothes off and go in this room and do what we do. And I guarantee you, you're not going to feel the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. I never realized that girls came in there and talk shit at all. Yeah. Yeah. I could see that too.
But anyone, really. I mean, put yourself in the situation.
Let me ask you this. Has it gotten worse over the years with guys having a shitty attitude? Or
yes.
What's... I want to say, and this is kind of a personal opinion. I'll eventually get into it, but the ego bruises easily for a lot of guys. Do you see that?
Yeah. Okay. It can go both ways. I think as a dancer, when someone can be shitty and mean to you got to have thick skin.
Mm-hmm.
Just, it's got to be part of it. And you really got to remember that everybody has an opinion and everybody has the human right to express their opinion and their thoughts. It doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it means anything to you. It's just what they think. So you just have to like kind of brush it off. And there's definitely been times where I've left and I've cried. It was just not a good night, you know? Mm. But for the guy, I guess, yeah, it's happened. If you don't want to go out with them, maybe they react in a certain way, or I don't know if they expect you to be a certain way with them, and you're like, dude, like, this is my job, and I don't know why you think it's gonna go a different way. But yeah, I think when I think guys get nervous too walking in there. That's why they all have to have a couple more drinks. That's usually the answer. Hey, you want to go for a dance? I'm gonna have a few more. You know, like I'm like, oh, so you have to get drunk to make me more attractive? I don't know. No, it's to loosen them up.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of guys walk in and they maybe have never been to a club, or maybe they just don't know how to act in that setting. I think that's the case. I think a lot of guys just don't know how to be.
Yeah.
no matter how long they've been going to clubs or how many times, sometimes they just think I don't know. I'm not a guy. I'm not, but like how I see it is I feel like they need to boost up their personality or ego to put them up a little bit higher, to make them seem a little bit cooler. It's not necessary. Just be nice, and I don't know.
Be nice.
Easy. It's not
Over tip.
Be nice. I sound like I'm what's his name, Dr. Phil.
No,
Mr. Rogers.
So it's like I said, it's one of those where, if you've never been, these are kind of the things to know. There's something I remember what you said, regular. So do you have regulars that come in to see you on a regular basis? And how exactly is that dynamic? How does that work?
I have some regulars. As I was younger dancer, I think I probably had more regulars and just didn't think I did.
Mm-hmm.
As I look back at it. I have, I guess you could call them a regular. Very few, two people. These guys have actually become my friends. And they've helped me out when I've really needed it. I don't expect anything of them. I'm not like asking them for money or anything like that all the time or nothing like that. Like if I came, I was down and I needed help. I know they would help me, and they have. And for that, I am very appreciative and grateful. And they're just, we see eye to eye and mesh as humans.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always the case. Obviously, you have to be cautious with some people because they may not know boundaries or respect your boundaries. So I think you just have to set that in place. And
now, is that something that you learned as you went along, or is that something that someone kind of explained to you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned that through time. Just I don't think I learned much in the process when I was younger, but now looking back and like my experience now I know where I'm at and how far I've come and how to handle situations, how to stay out of drama and things like that.
So having said that, what kind of wisdom do you have that you can maybe pass along for someone that's, watching this, that has a curiosity about either becoming an entertainer or what direction they should go? Is there any advice, wisdom that you have for them at all?
Yeah, I think, one, stay humble, okay? Because some of these girls get in this industry 18, 19, 20, and within a couple months, their attitude changes, and you can see a shift. You can feel a shift. Like, they're making all this money, like guys are complimenting them. They get this ego boost of pride, and it's somewhat untasteful, and like, just, you can be grateful and appreciative of it without acting like, I don't know, like you're the shit, or like, there's some things you don't do. You don't brag about your money to other girls, and I feel like that's something that younger girls do. It's just, I don't feel like it's tactful, because somebody might have a great night for them and they might not make that much money, and like you're bragging about that, and like, they could be let down, or I mean, at the end of the day, it's everyone owns their own feelings, but it's just, you're young, just calm the fuck down.
So
basically,
advice would be stay humble.
Yeah, just
don't talk about money.
don't talk about money. Save your money, budget. Invest in something. Don't blow it. Like, it's easy to just say, oh, well, I just made this number. I'm gonna go splurge because I'll make rent tomorrow. And then you blow all your money, and then you've been doing this for a year, and what do you have to show you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that you can make that much in such a short amount of time, but I think it's just
I've tried
use it as a tool.
I've tried to explain that to entertainers where I go, you're in a very powerful position where there's a girl that I know, I'm going to leave her name out of it, where she was one of the most popular girls at the club. And she just had this work mentality. And she literally set it up that she would go on vacation twice a year. She's like, dead of winter, I leave went super slow. I take off for like a week and a half and go do this. And then towards the end of the summer, I'll go somewhere and go do this, so on and so forth. Within I was in Vegas at the time when she stopped dancing. But she had stopped dancing because she hit a number. And the number that she hit was because of the fact that she had been investing her money smartly and wisely, where it came to the point where the amount of money that she had put away, the dividend that she was making monthly, put her at like $70,000 a year, so that she could just live off of that as long as she never touched that money. And she's retired before she was 30, has a family, has a husband, has 2 kids, dog, cat, so on and so forth, SUV, whatever you place in the burbs. That is an example of, I keep trying to explain to girls where I'm like, yeah, you can make all this money in one night. And it was like you're saying, you can make your rent in one night, so on and so forth. But at the same time, not having to work is a truly powerful thing where you go, I've gotten to the point where I'm self-sufficient, that I don't really need to work anymore, ever again. And I keep trying to explain to people, I'm like, look, understand what a retirement is, understand financial security, understand that there are investments out there. Like, for example, I was explaining Coinbase, a cryptocurrency app that you can use for buying cryptocurrency. They went public like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I bought it, and I suggested to people to do the same because of the fact they're one of the most popular ones. They're one of the most popular applications out there. And people just look at me dumbfounded. I'm like the stock's going for this price. That's maybe an hour of your work. Like, go buy a couple of shares of it and keep buying shares. If it dips, buy more because it's just cheaper for you to buy then. And it's just one of those that they're just like, oh, that's such a waste of money. And I'm like, you don't understand investing. It's not for right now. It's for the future. But it's so hard to look past a certain point in your life because you're like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in a year. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 2 years. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 5 years. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 7. It's crazy. Like I was saying, I've been at this place for forever, and it was just because of the fact that I was like, I didn't know if I was going to stay in Milwaukee. I'd been all over, and now it's to the point where I'm like, I'd been all over. I know where I am now. I know where I want to be now, and that's here. But yeah, it's hard to try and get people to, or I should say, entertainers to invest properly because there's not a lot of them that can see past a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think everyone's ideals in life are different. And maybe a lot of people have this end goal, like, I have to be retired at this age. I have to own a house. I have to be married. I have to have kids, and I have to do it in this time. And like, for me personally, none of that is for me. It's good to have goals, and like, my goals change as my life experiences change. So, what works for some people may not be what somebody else cares about or what they need to live for, So, I'm just kind of rambling on right now.
No, that's cool. Let me ask you this. Outside of everything else we've talked, is there any major misconceptions that people have of entertainers at all?
I think there is like a stereotype, that, you could see a picture posted or, comments about something on the internet with strippers or strip clubs or whatever. And I feel like there's always like some negative feedback about it. That most girls are partying and drunk and doing drugs, and that may be the case for some people. But there's a lot of girls that just go to work sober, and they have another job, and they take care of their lives, their kids, their significant other, whatever it is. They are going to school, whatever they're doing in their other life, I guess you could say. So there's just a lot of judgments on people. I think a lot of guys also come in and have that attitude. Like, they think, I've been asked the question, so what are you going to do with your life? And I'm like, motherfucker, you don't know what I do with my life. All you know is you're sitting in this chair next to me and seeing me where I am right now. You know nothing about me. Mm-hmm. And I'll say that sometimes straight up, I can be a little blunt and abrasive sometimes to customers.
Well, you were saying before that, people or I should say entertainers have a life outside of the club as well. You're an esthetician. What's all the stuff that you do? Because I imagine there's a couple different licenses. By the way, personal note, you waxed my back for me right before I went on my trip to Florida.
I did.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was self-conscious about the fact that I've gotten older, and I don't have a hairy back, as you saw, but it was just one of those that, like, I have random spots where it's just like clump of hair out of nowhere. It's just going to grow right here. And I was super thankful for it, because I was kind of self-conscious about being at a pool and just being like, this is the first time in my life I have a hairy fucking back. That is
understandable.
Just like, how did you get into that?
So, and I do want to talk about this, because this is another topic that I think people are so blown away by. But yes, I'm an esthetician. I've been doing that for about 2 years. I've kind of steered away into my own little niche. I was working at a med spa. I was doing facials, microneedling, microdermabrasion, dermaplaning,
I'm
laser.
For myself, I'm not familiar with
I
any
didn't
of
think
that.
so.
Okay.
So I'll just kind of, they're basically, microderma is a exfoliation technique, dermaplaning as well. We all need to exfoliate our dead skin cells. Mm-hmm. Facials, to get a deep cleaning, cleansing your face. It's those types of services. Laser hair removal, they did specifically at my place. Waxing is also a service, and I have a lot of waxing clients, so that's mainly what I do now. Mm-hmm. And I did start my own LLC for that, but there is not a lot of people or women that do the male Brazilian wax. What is that? Do you want to know? So women get their Brazilian wax, right?
Yeah.
They get all their
basically from
vagina.
From the ass.
Front to the lips to the taint, whatever you want to call it, your butt crack, your butthole, all that. I do all that. I see a lot of buttholes often. Mm-hmm. So when I went to my last place, I said, well, first of all, I heard about this in school, and my teachers mentioned something about male Brazilians, and I was like, you gotta wax guys' dicks. I would do that, because one, there's not a lot of people that do, and two, that makes me more valuable, because those people aren't doing it. They don't want to do it, so I'll take the money that people don't want to do, right? There's got to be somebody to do a job for everything in life.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable around naked bodies, sexuality. I've worked in the industry. Like, I'm not uncomfortable with a penis in my hand. I'm not awkward about it. I don't make it awkward. It's not awkward that guys want to get waxed. Like, people shave everywhere you grow hair. Some people get waxed, and some people don't like hair. It's nothing weird about it. Guys don't want to shave their balls, so they would prefer to get it waxed instead.
So do you have a number of these clients? Because I'm like, this is a lot of detail. And I'm just like,
I do. I have a lot of them.
So, okay, there's that. And then I guess the next question I have then is this a mainly straight guy thing? Or
yes.
Is this really?
It's and I get that question a lot. Like, are all these guys gay? I'm like, no. They're all a variety. I don't think I have any gay clients.
That's
not
crazy.
that I give a shit whether they are or not, but some of the guys have girlfriends or they're married or like they like, for example, one of the wives of the guys said, I'm gonna get a wax. You should do one too, because we're going to experience it together. So he got one, she got one, and she's like, I like it. You should keep doing it.
I'm picturing this. Do you
not together.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm like, we're like, all right,
one
guys.
One on this hand, one on that hand.
I was picturing like from the taint up and being like, all right, here we go, guys. Whoosh.
Absolutely. That would make a great show, but that's not how I do it. So I don't wax them both. I usually, yeah. But, sorry.
No, it's perfectly fine.
No, I have a variety of them, and honestly, they like the way it feels, and I like the way. I mean, not on them, but okay, personal preference. If I see a guy and he's hairy, my first thought is like, I want to wax the fuck out of that guy's chest, right? Like, that's a fun time for me. But if you like your hair, cool, that's your thing. But they're also willing to give it a try. I do promote for it sometimes on my social media, and I've gotten some clients like that. They're intrigued. In the beginning, I asked for volunteers. I needed male models to volunteer their package for me to wax. And so I got a few volunteers, and a couple of these guys asked me on a date, and I'm like, your penis is out. You don't have to expose your cock to ask me on a date, for one, and two, I don't date my clients, so don't make it weird, but I mean, yes, I've gotten hit on here and there, but I keep it professional.
Mm-hmm.
There's no happy ending, okay, guys? Like, don't get the wrong idea here.
Let me ask this: is there ever been anyone that you're dating that you're just like, for example, like let's say they had like a puke patch that you were just like, this is coming off right now?
Dating? What's that? You mean like a boyfriend?
A boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
I don't know what that is. I have a pillow that I spoon with.
Wait, I have a body pillow too.
It's 12 years old. Does that count? No, I'm just kidding. I got a new one. Ew, that would be gross. Yeah, there was a couple guys that I was just like, ooh, you should let me wax you. And
are they open to it, or
well, one of them,
or does it take like a little coaxing?
Yeah, some of them sounded like they were open to it, but no, I never got around to it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, these fuckers are all talk.
That leads me to a good question. I wanted to kind of circle back this, and I'll try and wrap this up as best as possible, because I said we'd go about 90 minutes, and I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, we hit 90 minutes.
Oh, yeah?
I was going to ask, as far as like being in the industry, do you find it difficult to be able to date someone or explain to them that I'm an esthetician, but I'm also an exotic dancer? Is that difficult?
So this was a hard thing for me a couple years ago, because at that point I had dated some guys who I didn't really know how to approach it when I really got into dating, because I was like, okay, well, I'm a dancer. How are people going to take that if they want to take me seriously, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have dated people in the industry, in the service industry, and I feel like those people are usually more comfortable and open-minded. But at one point, when I was like doing the dating app thing, and you know, you gotta basically reintroduce yourself to several different people over and over and over again, and I was just like, okay, how do I go about this, you know? Because I noticed that if I didn't tell them up front, then they would get weird about it at one point, or if I did tell them right away, then it would be like, peace out. So this one guy at my gym at this one point, he asked me out. He came up to me, asked me for my number, and I was like, yeah, he's cute. I mean, fuck it, I'll give him a shot. I didn't tell him right away. And we had talked for, I don't know, maybe like a week or two or something. I don't remember. It wasn't that long, but I was just like, I'm going to wait it out a little bit, because this guy is obviously interested in me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want him to get to know who I am as a person versus finding out that I work in this industry and now you have this judgment circling your head right away. Mm-hmm. So I was going to wait a little bit, and I end up coming into the gym after my day shift. So my hair is done. You know, I looked a little bit more done up. He's like, oh, you look pretty. And I was like, oh, thanks. I just got off work. And he's like, oh, where's that where you work again? I was like, at a bar. Oh, well, where? And I was like, in Franklin. Well, which one? It's this place. Oh. Well, are you a bartender, a waitress, or a dancer? And I said, I'm a dancer. And then he said, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't really judge anybody on what they do, you know? I mean, it's basically like it's your life type of thing, okay? So he seemed like he was really cool about it. And then, as time went on, I'm talking like a couple days, we were supposed to go on a date, and he said, no, we had gone out drinking, which was, we were supposed to go to fucking Great America. And he's like, you know what? I don't want to go. Let's go drinking instead. I'm like, whatever. I'm spontaneous. Go with the flow. So he ends up getting drunk. And then at that night, he goes, you know what? I just can't date a stripper. And I was like, what? Yeah, I just can't do it. You're like one step below prostitute. And I was like, wow. Are you fucking serious? I said, why are you wasting your time hanging out with me and like acting like you like me when all of a sudden like that, you can't date me, but you can have sex with me? How does that work? So I'm sure people have their own thoughts on that. But at that point, I just said to myself, you know what? I'm going to tell people this up front, and whether they accept it or not, that will tell me where we are. I'm not going to drag it on. Hey, you know what? This is what I do. This is where I'm at in my life. I have another job. I've gotten myself through school, paid for my schooling in cash, you know, paid for my car. Like, I take care of my shit, but however you want to see it and perceive it and think about it is on you. Any questions you have, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to be open about it.
Is the question part like, is it awkward at all when people, like when you're fielding a potential boyfriend's questions?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know, man. My dating game is all over the place, Parker. So I do remember this guy I was dating years ago, and I ended up telling him that, and he also had a really shitty reaction to it. And he was like, I just think anyone in that environment or industry is disgusting. The bartenders, the people that go in there, blah, blah, blah. I was like, wow, really? Like, you've never even been in one of those places.
Yeah, people get on a pretty high horse sometimes.
Yeah. And I was like, listen, you're not even dating me. So why do you care?
Yeah.
You're using me for sex. You're doing the same fucking thing in a different scenario. They're just paying me, not for sex, but they're paying me to see my body.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming to use my body. How are you going to judge them? Sorry, got a little raw there, but I'm just saying, like, that's how it is. And I just thought that was fucked up.
Don't apologize. And here's the thing. Part of the reason why I wanted you on here is your no nonsense. You don't tread lightly on anything. It's one of those things that it's a direct answer. You hear it time and time again with stuff that you said. You know, you learn from one scenario that you're just like, nope, I'm just going to directly go right at this and be like, yo, I'm an entertainer. Like, whatever you have about that, that's on you. If you have questions, go ahead and answer it. Yeah. I did have one last question. Well, two. One, how did you ever what made you use the name Angelina for your stripper name? Was it Angelina Jolie?
It was.
Okay.
I loved Angelina Jolie when I was younger, and I had like a little crush on her, and I just thought she was so beautiful. And I remember watching that movie Gia, and her breasts were so perfect and perky.
I remember that
and
one.
I think I actually had a couple dreams about meeting Angelina Jolie in the strip club, and I had sex with her. Booyah!
Really? The last question I had was we had talked about notes that you had and notes that I had before we started this. There was a Mexico story.
Oh God!
I don't know if you want to cover it or not. You don't have to.
How about I'll tell you the butt plug story instead?
Okay, let's go butt plug story, and then we'll end on that one.
Okay, it has to do with the club, so that's why I chose that.
Wait. It has to do with Silk?
No.
Oh, okay.
My old club.
Okay.
So for the longest time, I wanted this unicorn tail butt plug. And you know, it's a butt plug and it's got a little tail.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like a little My Little Pony.
Do you know Diane from Monkey Bar?
Yeah.
So Diane and we saw an ad for those, and
really?
We would point out girls. I think this is where we came up. Don't quote me on this. I might have to call Diane and ask her about this. But we started using the term show pony as for girls that would have the unicorn butt plugs or like the pony butt plugs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we've seen those ads. In fact, I think I got flagged on Facebook for it at one point because I put it on her profile. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay. Unicorn
so, yes.
butt plug.
So this customer ended up buying me one. It came from the UK. It was a UK butt plug.
Time out. Is this one size fits all, or is this
It was about. It was glass.
Okay, is that good, bad?
I don't know. It's harder, I guess.
I don't worry about that breaking off.
No,
okay.
It's solid, man.
Okay.
Solid. It ain't a light bulb going in your butthole.
Well, you say glass, and I just get worried. Okay. I'm like,
no, it's like a solid piece of glass.
Okay.
So I mean, it was a decent size. I don't know, maybe 2.5, 3 inches or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he bought it for me, brings it in. I was like so ecstatic. I have this fucking butt plug.
Hold on, paint the picture for me here. Now, is this thing in a case? Like, is it in?
It came in a little like velvet, little pouch.
Did you open it up and did angels start singing? Was there a little light? Was there different angles
of
lights
Pegasus
shining?
Flying around.
Little mini Pegasus flying around.
Yes.
With
the air.
Big
little fairies,
cartoonish eyes. Okay.
Fairies with dildos attached to them.
Okay.
Yes, in a magic world. So it was like colorful, like pastel colors. The hair looks like a unicorn tail, right?
Okay.
So I wanted it because I was going to be a unicorn for Halloween, and I needed it for my costume. So for Halloween at the club, we would have like a costume contest for customers to dress up in the dancers.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was my plan. I've been talking it up. I was talking it up for like a year. I'm going to wear this butt plug. And this one chick was like, I got to be here for this. So she was so excited about my fucking butt plug. So the night I bring it in and I show one of the girls that works there, and she's not from here, so I guess she didn't know about that kind of stuff, and she's seen it and she was blown away, and she was like, what is that? I was like, do you want to put it in? She was intrigued, and I put it in, and like I put my costume on, so I was like, I had the furries, furry little booty things, and like the little paw, I made my horn, and like I made my makeup, and like, you know, look like a sexy unicorn thing with the butt.
I'm picturing this. Okay.
Yeah, I actually have a picture. But so
wait, time out. Are your clothes on for it?
Yeah.
Do you want to airdrop it to Randon?
No.
Okay. No, I mean, like,
it's
not
sheer.
No, so let me make this clear.
What?
Not airdrop it to his phone
No,
personal
I know.
keep. I was going to say we could put this on the podcast. We have the technology, but if it's not safe for work, I don't want to get flagged by YouTube.
Let me think about it. It's sheer.
No. If you can see through it, then
censor. No,
yeah, I can't censor that on the fly. Yeah,
boobage.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Like
mental picture.
Got it. Okay.
Unicorn. Okay. So I went out there, you know, I did my performance. Now, mind you, I had worked with this in for 7 hours straight. And I went on stage like this, and then, you know, customers would be like, is that in you? And I was like, it sure the fuck is.
You spent 7 hours with this thing working?
Did. Yeah. I did a dance with it, and no, there wasn't a lot of people spending that night because it was a contest party. Yeah. They're just there to get drunk on Halloween. But I did a dance, and let's just say it felt like anal sex, you know? So that was interesting. I'm not gonna go too far into that. But the guy, I don't think he was into it, and I think he was kind of freaked out about it, because I went back to his friend, and he was just like, yeah, all he kept talking about was this butt plug thing, and I was like, I don't know, some guys might like that, but he did not, I guess.
Did anyone try and pull on it at all?
Yes, my girlfriend, and I was like, stop it, this is not gonna happen here. But I left it in, took it out.
So what's the process for taking this thing out?
Just
Are you
pull it out?
You're pulling? You're not like pushing or like? Listen.
Pop a squat over the toilet. No,
I do not. Just so we are clear, I am.
You don't wear butt plugs?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, you should try it sometime.
Maybe.
Open your sexual mind a little bit. You know.
We'll figure this one out.
Prostate orgasm.
But let's move back to this show pony butt plug.
Yes, the butt plug.
So when you're taking this thing out, then what are you doing? Is it one of those you're in the locker room?
Oh yeah, I was in the locker room. I just pulled it out. Nobody cared.
Okay, so is it like feet are up on the desk or up on the counter, and you're just?
Okay, yes. I laid on my back, and I was like, "Girls, all come around me and pull one by one." No, just kidding. It wasn't that exciting.
Is it a slow pull, or is it like anal beads where it's like yanking the lawnmower?
You should not yank anal beads.
I have no idea.
Who the fuck told you to do that?
I don't know.
You're gonna mess up someone's.
See, it's just one of those where like there's like the ring that you can put your finger through. I just pictured like.
No,
like a lawnmower.
You're not starting a lawnmower. Oh God.
A weed whacker.
I have a bad story about that. Not with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some girl's butthole got fucked up by doing that. You shouldn't yank them out. Unless they're into that type of torture.
Wait, what's the term for that? Not perforated. It's Urban Dictionaries. They call it the red sock, and I forgot what the heck the actual name for it is. Where the butt goes inside out, like
prolapse.
Prolapse, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't fuck with that. But you just kind of like push and pull at the same time.
I have no idea.
Nothing too serious. It comes out. Probably comes out easier than it goes in, I guess. I don't know. Lube it up and yeah. That's a whole nother show we could do. Is toy topic. I don't know.
Listen,
I'm moving 3 weeks. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, you're taking off for Arizona. Are you going to continue to do? Because we talked a little bit off air.
Yeah.
You found a place to be an esthetician at. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you still going to pursue dancing when you're in Arizona?
Yeah.
I don't want to say a city, but in Arizona in general.
No, it's okay. I am for a while. My goal is to eventually own my own business fully.
I was going to say, I'm like, well, you do. You're an LLC.
Yeah. But I mean, fully, like, I don't know.
You want your own studio?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now, I can dance, and I'm grateful for that. I like it. There's pros and cons. I'm telling you, though, man, I'm older, so it hurts. It really hurts the body. It takes me a couple days to recover, and then I got to get back to it again. I work out, and then I go to work, and then I do pole, and I take pole classes as well. It's hard on the body.
Shout out to Terry.
Heels.
You're doing those with Terry, right?
I was, and
Okay.
then I started with some other girl as well. So, but Terry is an amazing instructor.
She's supposed to be doing her own studio. I just talked to her the other day.
I said congratulations to her. She's amazing.
Yeah, so when she does that, I definitely want to have her on here and talk about that.
Yeah.
Look, I think outside of my ADD, I think we kind of shed some light on the stripper industry and club stuff and so on and so forth. I think the only thing we didn't talk about was like house fees and like stuff like that. But yeah. I mean, as far as like entertainers go and stuff like that, if you're watching this for, we'll say, quote unquote, educational purposes, working at a club, there are house fees. They kind of work from, depending on what time the club opens, the earlier you get there, usually they're lower. But
yes,
it's
get
usually
there early. Hey, the early bird. What does it get? The worm.
But yeah, I think there's that, and then we never talked about like tipping out like staff and stuff like that. Did you want to talk about that really quick, and then we'll wrap this up?
Sure. I mean, I think some places call them different. Maybe they don't even call them fees. I don't know. Silk is unique about that.
What do you mean?
mean?
The house fees
yeah.
or okay.
Yeah. So, as far as tipping people out, I mean, I try to take care of people, you know.
So I guess what
DJ?
I was trying.
Are you talking about like the DJ?
So I was trying to what I was trying to explain is that I keep forgetting that like a lot of people don't get that there's a house fee that an entertainer has to pay when they're working for a club.
Yes.
That there are like you tip out the bouncers, you tip out the bartender, you tip out the DJ, so on and so forth. Actually, you know what? I just covered it. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to pay. I don't know what they refer to it, but pay that, and then, I mean, yes, it's good etiquette to tip your DJ.
Yeah, your DJ.
Yes.
Who plays all your music.
Play the DJ guy. Yes. I don't know what the fuck I just said. But and then, you know, the house dad, they're taking care of you. I always
That too.
tip
Yeah, I forgot about
them.
that too.
They bring in snacks and stuff, and that's nice because girls get hungry and they want to eat snacks, even though it's like not healthy stuff most of the time. But
Yeah, when I worked in Chicago, it was all like it was healthy snacks like veggies and stuff like that in the back. And
I
then
don't know if I would want to eat veggies when I'm
different
at the club.
different clubs have different stuff.
Yeah, it's actually making me hungry. I'm thirsty right now.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
Let's pound some water and wrap this up. Listen, Kim, again, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Listen, there's a couple of things I wanted to go over before we write this off. Listen, folks, if you're going out this weekend, actually, if you're going to be out in Okauchee Lake at the Hideaway, say Friday night, I'm going to be there playing live at the Hideaway. I'm going to be hanging out with my two good friends, Scott Cron and Craig Plutz. Come out, hang out. I'll be DJing from 10 until close out in Okauchee Lake. The next night, I'll be hosting UFC fights over at Brothers. Come out for that as well. the COVID and mask mandate in Milwaukee is kind of lifted, or I shouldn't say kind of, it is. So you don't have to worry about wearing your mask. You don't have to worry about social distancing, so on and so forth. So bring as many people as you want. I would get there early just for the fact that the earlier you get there, the better spot you get. Tables seem to be filling up pretty quickly during the prelims, so please come out early. If you see me, yell Zerocool Podcast. By the way, shout out to whoever screamed that at my DJ booth last night when I was DJing at Brothers. I was DJing at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I just hear someone scream, Zerocool Podcast, and like point up to the booth, and I tried to wave them up, and they never came upstairs. There was so my girlfriend was coming by after she got done bartending, and she was coming up, and I had like kind of like a cooler of like Red Bulls, waters, and like she loves White Claws. So I was like, hey, I'm like, put a bunch of White Claws in there for her or whatever. I was really about to hand them all over to this like one person for being like, thank you for being the one of 5 people that actually watch my podcast and maybe came out to one of my gigs because of it, or just happened to be there at the same time while I was there. It's unique. It's unique. It actually made me feel really good. So
it's something you like to do.
Well, I always wanted to go back into radio. This is non-committal. So it's one of those, we do this every Sunday unless there's a holiday. If it's Mother's Day, we take off and go hang out with our mom. If it's Father's Day, we take the day off and go hang out with our dads and whatnot. So this is great for my brother and I.
Do something you're passionate about.
I enjoy this, and you know, it's slowly getting better. We now have a 3-camera system here now, so we have a wide shot one. We have our 2 other cameras, and then I'm just slowly making improvements as I go.
I dig it.
Also, if you want to sponsor this directly, check us out on Patreon. Look up DJ Zerocool. You can directly fund this, and I have private invites for our UFC parties. So if you're not a teammate of mine that I train with, and you want to watch the fights with us and pick my friends Brains and I about what's going on in the fights, you buy a certain tier and you can come hang out with us for that, and I send you live mixes and so on and so forth. Listen, Kim, I want to thank you again for doing this. Shout out to my little brother Randon, our producer, once again for the bunch of you that tuned in. Thank you. Enjoy your week. Next week it's the fights next week. So next week is Chicago Nick, who got pushed off due to Carrie being in town. We wanted to bring some attention to her cause, Act for Bali Dogs, out in Indonesia, where she's rescuing dogs out in Bali, so on and so forth. Chicago Nick will be here. He was one of the trainers over at the world famous Equinox. He's going to be here talking about nutrition. We're going to be talking, obviously, the UFC card, the post-UFC card, or post-UFC fight night. We'll be talking about that in great detail. We'll be talking about fitness education for guys like myself that do jiu-jitsu, that do Muay Thai, MMA, what you should be eating, what you should be doing, especially for someone like myself who's 40 now. So tune in next week. I'm super excited. The following week will be off for Father's Day, so we can hang out with our dads. And then closing out the month will be Peter Wilt, who helped start up a number of soccer teams around the country, one of them being one of my favorite teams, the Chicago Fire. So tune in for that as well. Once again, everyone, take care, be well, mahalo. Thank you.
Thank you.